What's going on, my people? What's going on, family? And welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews. And thank you for rocking with me. And today we're going to be discussing a Peacock original film that I just watched, and it's called Them. And I'm just going to get right into it, man. 10 minutes into this film, it's obviously known who the killer is. The question was, why? And that wasn't revealed until later on, and it's so underwhelming. I want to save you guys without spoiling this film for you if you're interested in watching it or haven't watched it yet. I think this movie is insulting to the entire horror genre. This is not a horror movie by any means. The pacing and plot elements and even the cinematography would lead one to think so, but it's not. Trust me. This movie does have an interesting premise that is totally wasted with a terrible script, bizarre acting. I really watched this movie for Kevin Bacon, but I was actually shocked. There were a few scenes involving violence that was very predictable, and I was like, what the fuck is Bacon doing in this film? Like, this underserved him in many ways. The twist at the end is mediocre at best. It's basically an excuse to try to make a social statement. I have no idea what the statement is, but I do know that this movie was the waste of my time. Them fails to deliver the slashing. The only thing original about this film is that title. This is such a dissatisfying slasher that has interesting ideas, a decent first half, but it quickly transforms into this dull and uninspired slasher, and I'm using slasher in the most positive way, because we'll get back. We'll get back to that. Starting off with the good. I don't want to give this movie a terrible review, but let's start off with the good. I think Kevin Bacon and Theo, Germaine are very good with the material they're given. Underutilized at best, but they were pretty good with what they were given. Theo Germaine especially is a standout, as this actor to me gives some of the most surprising depth, especially to his character. Speaking of depth, all of these young kids actually have some character scenes that feel very much real. There's quite a bit of great emotional scenes between these actors, which really made the film feel a little more grounded. And this all happens in the first act, first half of the film. And the first half of this film was actually, like I mentioned before, somewhat decent. The psychological horror was actually done pretty well. You have these group of kids, teenagers that are going to this kind of like this gay conversion camp because they're either gay, lesbian, transgendered, and they kind of want to be straight, or that's what you think they're in the film. However, despite some of these good ideas and these good character moments, this film to me is a mess when it comes to the tone. Tonally, the last 30 minutes are awful. The pacing is way too slow. In fact, it's not, like I mentioned before, it's not really a slasher film. For about 75 minutes, you don't see anything slasher-esque. The movie builds to absolutely nothing. It almost makes the slasher part of the film feel very unnecessary, and almost a complete different film than the first half. It's like there was two directors in a way. The kills are very dull, very uninventive. There was no creative feel here. There's no tension in this film. Nothing builds up. Nothing's very suspenseful. There's not even a chase scene. Somebody going like you know what I mean? Very weird. The movie falls back on a lot of these horror cliches, It's based, majority of the movies in a camp. You know what I mean? I want it kind of like that Jason feel. And you don't get it. You don't get it. I was very disappointed. You know, there's also some really bad editing, especially in the final 20 minutes, that makes no scenes involving a certain character and the killer make no sense at all. You know, and finally the killer, like I told you before, was blatantly obvious. I'm not gonna spoil it for you. It's a terrible twist that you can see coming from a fucking mile away, and it really makes you look back and see none of our protagonists in this film were in actual danger with this killer. Overall, everyone was this movie, like I said, had an interesting premise, but they didn't do anything with it. They really left it on the table, so to speak. With that premise, you could have offered at least thrills. This movie had no blood, no carnage candy. I think it was an awful motivation. It lacked scares. You know, to be labeled a horror movie, I feel like this movie couldn't end faster. They couldn't die fast enough in this film. And I was going into this movie really hoping to like it. You know what I mean? You know, this movie went in with a very clever title. I was like, oh shit, they, them, okay. Let's see how they go along with this. And this was a complete waste of my time. You know what I mean? Man, this movie was crazy. I think it's going to be a very unsuccessful movie. It was the most insulting, the low amount of effort put into the story and how inspired it was. The way they were trying to exploit the gay narrative, the LGBTQIA plus community, in the most kind of like worst way. It's crazy. You got the non-binary one. What was it? The sassy black one. You got the jock, the popular girl, the miscellaneous Asian girl. It was just riddled with tired tropes and cliches. I mean, really, there was a GD musical number and a bad one at that. They were singing in camp. You know, I'm not offended, but you know, the gays are gonna riot when they see this film, seriously, because it was basically catered to that community. And I'm sure they're gonna be disappointed. I was disappointed. As far as the plot goes, like I said, very uninspired. Wasn't thrilling, barely engaging at all. You know, I definitely stood the entirety of the film just to see where it was gonna go, and I already, for the most part, knew. You know, I don't think I have to reiterate or continue going. This was a waste to watch, guys. You know what I mean? I give this movie a 3 out of 10. Seriously, this is, I think, one of the worst movies I've seen in a very long time. So bad that I was borderline not gonna review this at all, but you know, I wanted to give, you know, my people out there just a heads up. If you want to pass this movie, definitely pass, because it's not worth your time. But I do look forward to you in the future. Whether you like this video or not, hit the like button if you want to, because I wouldn't. This movie was horrible. But hit the notification bell, hit subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Peace.